All right, good afternoon, economics students. We have an assignment today. Sorry, I'm gone. I have baseball. Today is your assessment for, why are you guys looking at me? You're being weird. This is actually you in fifth period laughing at me right now. So you're the weird ones, not me. Anyway, we have an assignment today. Today and tomorrow, you're going to get to work with the Chromebooks, and it's basically everything we did last Friday and last block day. Everything we did with stabilization policy. So you've seen an economy that is underdone, or in a recession, you've seen an economy that is overdone, overexpanded, and now you need basically stabilization policy to come into effect. And so you can use either government fiscal policy or Federal Reserve monetary policy. So here is the scenario. I am going to share this screen with you. Here is the actual lecture. So if you guys track along, you do not have to take notes with this, but this is the assignment. It starts today. It's going to be due next Friday, the 23rd. Here it is. So combating inflation write-up, 30 points, due Friday, the 23rd. Okay, so here's the background. In 2008, just following along with the story with me, 2008, our country experienced a financial collapse, as we know. This collapse was triggered mainly by the bursting of the U.S. housing market, housing bubble, which peaked in 2006. Causing the value of securities tied to the U.S. real estate to plummet. That's this. And so basically, I'll try to go over this with you. We'll go over this with you on Tuesday. I want to get back. But basically, this is people buying houses that they couldn't afford, banks giving out loans and tying these loans, bundling all these loans, these debts into a bunch of different securities called loan-backed securities that weren't worth as much because it was people who couldn't afford the houses. So that happened, and then causing the value of the securities tied to the U.S. real estate to plummet, as I said. This was only at the beginning. In response to the federal government and the Federal Reserve took drastic measures to save our country from another Great Depression. The Emergency Bailout Economic Stabilization Act of 2008 was instituted. This act gave over 900 banks, automobile companies, and other businesses that were too big to fail a bailout of over $700 billion, which is what you see here. Government and the Fed just pouring money in, making sure banks don't fail so we don't crap out like we did in 1929 and through the 30s. On top of all this, over the next 6-7 years, every time our country showed signs of economic growth, we were set back by a series of other events. Mother Nature blessed us with Hurricane Katrina. Thank you for that. And the tsunamis in Japan and Southeast Asia, right, as you see here. The recent droughts in the Midwest, California, the Arctic freeze, the Midwest, Northeast, just to name a few. So there we have it. We see freezes and droughts and all sorts of things that require more money, more spending, more support. With all that said, all this required our nation's attention and financial resources. Add to that the oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico some years ago, an unemployment rate during the recession that hovered around 8 to 10%. Now it's dropped to So there's the oil spill. Now it's dropped to somewhere around 5%, give or take. All these problems, considering global issues like the conflict in the Ukraine, we gave Ukraine $1 billion to deal with problems over there. ISIS concerns about how to deal with them, concerns funding Obamacare, who's going to pay for all of that, right? Dealing with the issues globally, funding Obamacare, like I just said, and also a national debt that is now pushing $20 trillion. On top of that, we have President Trump, who is now looking to spend more, $52 billion on infrastructure, on military, another trillion and a half on infrastructure spending. And so basically what we see is, pending inflation. From all of this, it's easy to see why our nation has been in such economic distress. So the government's been doing more, the Federal Reserve has been doing more, and so now we're kind of overexpanded, especially with all the market excitement that has been surrounding the Trump administration. So with that said, we obviously, textbook monetary policy, as you see here, holds that increasing the money supply will lead to higher inflation. Since the 2008 Fed has tripled the monetary base, that means there's more money out there to make sure that we have things going again since the recession has hit 10 years ago. On top of this, they have held interest rates at a historic low, making money easy to get, so people are encouraged to buy. To this point, there has not been a major surge in inflation. Surprising. However, history tells us that that's where we're headed. Most economists fear that that's where we're headed for high inflation. So, and I believe I have 3 minutes to finish this video. So here is your assignment. You've been given now, granted against your will, I'm sure, all the powers of the Fed and the government. First, I want you to address the issues of inflation. What is it? What causes it? Why is it a problem? Okay. Next, in 5 paragraphs, yes, paragraphs, thoroughly done. Tell me which tools you would use to combat the problem of inflation. Okay. Once you decide which tools to use, tell me how this would be done, how you would use them, why you think this tool is the best to fight inflation, the inflationary tendencies of our economy, so on. This is what the assignment's going to look like. So in a column here, here, and here, I want you to talk about inflation for 5 points. Here, I want you to tell me what policy it's going to be, tell me which tool it's going to be, and circle whether it's the government or the Federal Reserve that is going to do the action. Move on to the next one. What policy is it? Expansionary or contractionary policy, what tool is it? And then tell me, circle government or Fed that is doing it. It all must match up. In each of these sections below, I want you to go on and type in a paragraph. So you're going to do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, all in an effort to tell me how to combat the issue of pending inflation. Okay? Now, where do you find that? You're going to go to Google Classroom. You'll be on the Chromebooks. You're going to get this day, Monday in class, and you're going to get Tuesday. You're going to go to Google Classroom. Where is it? Check, 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 check. Where is my Google Classroom? Why is my desktop not showing up? Here we go. Get rid of that. I'm not sure why I can't. Oh, here we go. Here. Sorry. Hold on just a second. I want to minimize this here. Exit out of this. Minimize that. Minimize this. Minimize this. Hey, see you guys later. Have a good weekend. Minimize this. Bring up this right here. Hold on just a second. I'm doing a video recording right now. For you, actually. Hold on just a second. I want to share this slide right here. Here's Google Classroom. You can find this. You're all making noise right now as you leave class, by the way. It's right under here, combating inflation. You're going to open this up. You're going to literally type in these fields. You cannot do it otherwise. It must be typed. Do well for the sub. If you want to recap the story, you can come here again. This, go back here. Come back down here, and this tells you the story again that I kind of shared with you already. Good luck. Have a nice life.